Hello and welcome to another Lincoln property blog, brought to you by Ben from Walters of Lincolnshire. This week we look at how to avoid the overpricing trap. The property market is frequently misunderstood, especially amid dramatic news stories. Here's what Lincoln homeowners need to know to avoid costly traps. To understand the property market, it is important to consider the broader context. Nationally, house price growth is treading water at 2.5% a year, and there were 663,000 UK homes available for sale in the month of January. Compared to the 3-year pre-COVID average levels of 559,000, that's 104,000 more properties for sale. That said, homes are still selling. In fact, 15.7% more homes in the East Midlands were sold in January 2026 compared to January 2024. Looking at Lincoln, 299 homes sold subject to contract in January 2024, whilst in January 2026 that had risen to 393, a 31.4% increase. In January 2024, Lincoln had 2,780 homes for sale. By January 2026, this had increased to 3,136. So buyers now have more options, and that is precisely why pricing strategy matters now more than ever if you want to sell. This means pricing right in Lincoln is important. Launching your Lincoln home at an overly ambitious price will damage your chances of selling and the price you achieve. Buyers search within set budgets. If your property sits above comparable homes, it is filtered out before it is even seen. Even when it does attract attention, an inflated price can suggest you are testing the market rather than being serious about selling. The result is often a slow start, followed by price reductions. The longer a home sits unsold, the more buyers begin to wonder what is wrong with it. That doubt can linger, even if the only issue was the initial price. A realistic, market-aligned asking price attracts more interest, builds momentum, and increases the likelihood of a successful sale and completion. Here are 4 key statistics that illustrate these points. 1. Nationally, in 2025, only 55.4% of homes were sold and moved. The other 44.6% remained unsold. In simple terms, you only had just over a 1 in 2 chance of moving if you put your home up for sale last year. However, Walters achieves a 93% success rate. 2. Another fact is that if a property has not secured a buyer by week 12, its chance of selling is just 14.5%. 3. Next stat, when a home agrees a sale within the first 25 days, typically because it is priced realistically, it has a 94% chance of reaching exchange and completion. That is, you move. Leave it until day 100, and should you agree a sale on your home, which will be low anyway, that success rate to get you from sale agreed to exchange and completion drops to 56%. Speed is not luck, it is usually pricing. 4. Finally, for homes that receive a buyer and reach a sale agreement, those with no price reductions are 135% more likely to complete the sale than those with reductions. Additionally, they typically sell in about a third of the time and have only half the risk of falling through compared to reduced price properties. Pricing correctly at launch preserves your equity and significantly increases your odds of successfully moving. Now let us look at the extent of the problem in Lincoln. In 2025, 6,480 Lincoln homes left the books of all the estate agents in Lincoln. When a property leaves the books of an estate agent, only one of 2 things can happen. Either the property is sold, that is, it exchanges and completes, meaning the homeowner moves, or, secondly, the property is withdrawn from the market unsold, leaving the homeowner stuck. Of those 6,480 Lincoln homes, 3,592 moved home, that is, exchanged and completed, and 2,888 withdrew unsold. So in 2025, only 55.43% of Lincoln homes listed for sale resulted in successful moves for their owners. The remaining 44.57% were withdrawn unsold. Some might say, well, of course, the property could leave that estate agent's books and go to another agent in the city. Will it surprise you that only 6.9% of all UK home sales sell with a second estate agent? It takes a particular set of skills to sell a property that has been on the market before. Feel free to contact me to find out what is needed the second time round. Independent research from which backs this up, showing that homes priced sensibly from day one sell faster, and in many cases achieve a stronger final outcome than those launched 5 to 10% too high and then reduced. Buyers are well informed. If a property looks overpriced compared to similar Lincoln homes, they simply move on. The costly trap of overvaluing. What it means for your Lincoln move. If you want to sell in Lincoln, the smartest place to start is with a realistic asking price. Overvaluing and overpricing might feel reassuring at first. It can sound ambitious, it can even feel flattering. But once your home hits the market, you only get one true launch window. Those first few weeks are when buyer attention is at its strongest. Miss that moment with an inflated price and momentum quickly fades. What should have been excitement becomes hesitation. Across Lincoln, more homes are coming to market priced above what buyers see as value. Too often this is driven by certain estate agency chains that are chasing instructions rather than completions. The result is predictable. A property sits, interest cools, the price is reduced, valuable time is lost. As we have already discussed, the longer it takes to secure a buyer, the lower the likelihood that the sale will reach exchange and completion. For many homeowners, that delay means losing the forever home they had hoped for. Compounding the issue, those same estate agency models that focus heavily on winning instructions also tie homeowners into long sole agency agreements of 20 or even 26 weeks. That length of contract often gives the agent time to talk the seller down from an inflated launch price rather than getting the pricing right at the outset. The problem, as explained earlier, is that the longer a property sits on the market, the lower the probability of it selling. And, if it does secure a buyer, the lower the likelihood of that sale reaching exchange and completion. At Walters, we have a zero tie-in period, so we are always actively working hard to sell your home. If not, you are free to leave. On top of that, to add salt to the wound, some estate agency structures reward their staff for listings secured rather than sales completed. In a stabilising market like Lincoln's, that approach is risky because it incentivises listing your home rather than selling it. Correct pricing is not about being conservative. It is about being competitive. So what is my view on the outlook for the Lincoln property market? We are unlikely to see dramatic house price spikes in the immediate future, but nor is there evidence of a major correction ahead. The national picture is more stable than many headlines suggest. Longer-term drivers remain supportive. Demographic shifts, flexible working, as well as a resilient labour market all underpin housing demand. UK interest rates are widely expected to sustain a gradual downward trend throughout 2026, with most forecasts placing the Bank of England base rate in the range of 3 to 3.5% by the end of 2026, assuming inflationary forces remain manageable. This would gradually improve affordability and buyer confidence. At the same time, wage growth has been running above inflation over the past year, quietly strengthening household balance sheets. The market is definitely not without its pressures. Affordability remains sensitive to mortgage pricing, and broader economic policy will continue to play a role. Yet the fundamentals suggest a more balanced environment rather than a distressed one. For Lincoln homeowners, the message is simple. In a market with more choice and greater buyer scrutiny, pricing realistically from the outset puts you in control. It protects your position, strengthens your negotiating power, and gives you the best chance of moving on your terms. If you are considering a move in Lincoln, a clear data-led market appraisal can help you understand where your property truly sits in today's market and how to place it for a successful sale. Feel free to contact me for a no-obligation talk about anything in this or my other articles on the Lincoln property market. For more insights and information, visit the Lincoln Property blog at walters-property.com/blogs. Until next time, take care. If you are thinking about selling and want an honest, evidence-based opinion on your Lincoln home's actual market value, with no fluff, no pressure, and no nonsense, I would be delighted to help. To ensure all our clients get the absolute best experience and a total marketing strategy as unique as their homes, we only list 20 properties per month. Our March market appraisal slots are now available to book. We ensure that you are always a name and not just a number with Walters.